Hey guys, it's Getting Real with Cockney Buddha. And something happened to me today where I, kind of tuned in a little bit, and I want to tell you about it and then teach you what you can do. There's certain things we can do, we just got to tune in, guys. It's all about the garden. Watering the plants. Being present. So stick around, guys. Grab yourself a cup of tea, coffee, and tune in. Because you can use tending your garden as a reference to help yourselves. Thanks for listening as well, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Pass it around. I can't do it without you guys helping out and getting the word out there. So thank you. Appreciate you. So let's talk about the story that came up for me today. And what I did that can help you guys. And it was one of those days. I woke up great. I felt pretty good. Had a little bit of something going on. Wasn't too sure what it was, but I was doing all right. And it was all right. And then all of a sudden I started to realise myself was kind of something just a little bit off. And that's when you got to start like, tuning in. Like when you start to realize it's time to start tuning in, right? So anyway, there was a situation where my youngest daughter, which I'm quite impressed with actually, had to do this editing. She's like, "Dad, have you got an editor on your computer?" Which I do. DaVinci's Resolve, by the way, guys, great little program to use. So she was working on this thing she wanted to show me, and then she couldn't get it up on the screen because I asked her, okay, while you was in DaVinci Resolve, what did you send it out as, a waveform, a J? What did you do? And she's like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, oh boy. And I don't know it enough to know what to do with that. And my wife is the technical one. So she, my wife started getting involved, but she started getting frustrated and oh boy, before you knew it, I thought
3, 2, 1, fight.
Oh no. Here we go. Oh shit. Hold up a minute. Dodge that one. Hang on. Oh, incoming. Oh shit, man. And I thought, oh, I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel it a little bit, and and you get the old,
Go away.
Oh no. Things are falling apart. Take cover. All right, it's not as bad as all that, but anyway, but yeah, it was okay. This is gearing up. There's something brewing here. I can tell that my daughter's getting angry and frustrated. So is my wife, and I kind of like started. I kept completely and utterly calm, and the way you do that is you tune into their emotion a little bit, right? And tuning in and out what things are telling you it is, because it isn't, right? Like it's about you. Here's the first thing, right? It's about you. But anyway, I'm getting on with the story here a little bit because I've gone a little bit off track there. But so I started to realise this thing, like I say, tuning into the others and thinking, right, well, I think I heard something about my daughter left it kind of a bit late for this project with her school, which was a really good interview, by the way. And again, I'm really proud of her for what she did with the editing part of it, because I was actually thinking, I wonder if I can get her to do some line. Right. I'd probably have to pony up some money for it, though. Yeah, tell ya. Blimey. Yeah, nothing goes amiss. But yeah, anyway, so I start realising there's something going on here and noticing that, okay, tune into yourself, what's going on with yourself. And I kept completely calm, like I say, because I was able to tune into what the actual reality of a situation was going on, what the fears were on both accounts, on my wife's side, on my daughter's side. You know, it's like, okay, everybody's getting frustrated because it's like, oh, hello, clock ticking, right? All of a sudden you got something behind it. So it's all nice when you got like a week to do it, but when you start getting up to that, you drive your own anxieties by doing that. You're better off spacing it out and enjoying the moment instead of getting right up top and, you know, obviously getting into these panic and you're in suffering before you know it. So my oldest daughter and her boyfriend was sitting out back doing homework and that. So I kind of nipped out back and I thought, oh, I just need to take a little bit of a breather, and started concentrating on what I was doing. And I thought, you know what? We just planted a banana tree yesterday and repositioned the grapefruit tree. Let me tell you, God, has anybody's out there got pasture grass? Holy shit, man. Try and get through that crap when it's all compacted and that. I mean, we live in sandy soil, and I went out there with a spade, right, to frigging dig the bloody thing up. And as I because it's all, I sharpen the edge of it as well, so it goes in easier, because I used to do this for a living and stuff, like digging stuff up and shit and all kinds of crap. And it bounced. I don't know what the heck I had to get an axe to chop it up and pull it out of there. But anyway, so we repositioned the grapefruit tree. I'm hoping we've done it a favour, because I love my plants, I tell you. And this is all wrapping around what you can do and what I did to help yourself out of situations like what was going on. And so the first thing is the awareness, right? Being aware something's going on, something's like, you know, something's a little bit off, right? Because when you can get it in the very beginning, you can give yourself that pause to understand what the other may be going through, right? Because, you know, it's probably like really uncomfortable for both of them too, right? You know, me wife's getting a bit frustrated. She wanted a coffee, by the way. Bless her. She's going on about, you know, I just want me coffee, and I could completely understand how it was, because I'd had a coffee, and my eldest daughter was about to go over and grab a coffee, and my wife ain't had one yet, and she'd been shopping, and oh shit, yeah. So, you know, those times when it's good to slow down and see the other person. So yeah, I was able to put that space. So that was the first thing, and then it's about like, okay, you know, you can tune into yourself, and like where mine was coming from was, there's a fight going on, or I went through a lot of bullying when I was younger. So, you know, whenever there's like things going on like that, or things may crop up, it starts to trigger people. It starts to trigger people in different ways, right? Just because one trigger for one person sounds a bit odd, it doesn't mean it ain't the real thing, right? For another. I mean, you can look at people's triggers, but, you know, look at your own too, because some of your own triggers may look a bit odd to somebody else, but, you know, no judgment, right? So yeah, there's those things that can crop up a little bit. Growing up, it was very quiet. In where I was in the environment, and but yeah, so you know, there's these certain triggers that can happen. So I went out back. I spoke to I spoke to my oldest daughter very briefly, and I went across the yard. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna water the plants. I'm gonna water the plants. So I grabbed the hose and I went over to the grapefruit tree, and I was giving that a good water down. And you know, knowing that I'm doing a service to that plant, and knowing the care to dig that plant up, because as soon as I knew, when I went in there with that I don't even know if a fork would have hit it, to tell you the truth. I went in there with a bleeding, not a shovel. I went in there with the spade, the pointed bit, and it bounced. Shit. So as soon as it did that, I wanted to get that plant some air and, turn the soil over and give it some help. And now I'm out there in the evening and I'm turning a whole thing that was going a little bit tits up, like in the house, into a complete. Even though I was in a good place in my mind, like I say, I looked at the position they were in and I thought, well, I'm just going to remove myself. I knew my wife had it, and I knew there was things going on there, and there was apologies and stuff after, and I was like, I'm thank God that I can do what I can do to keep myself in a calm, because I was trying to calm things down. Of course, that just makes things worse, because you right, you hear things like that, or
Go away.
right. So I thought, right, remove yourself, work on self. What's going on within self, and start looking at a garden. I mean, even if you get yourself some plants. I mean, I got some plants, and when you start taking care of a plant, because a plant is alive, and then when you start to take care of that plant, I've talked to my plants and give a little drop of water when they need it. Even though I had some plants I had to bring downstairs because they weren't liking it in my room for some reason. And it's a meditation room. It's all calm. And it's like, why don't you like it in here? But no, teaching kids how to take care of a plant, like the responsibility of it, knowing what light does and knowing how they need feeding and certain size pots and the root systems and how they grow and what they grow from, and right, the whole life cycle of that plant, and then respect for that plant, what it does for us. And when you can have those around and plants, I'll tell you, it makes you feel better just being around it. It absolutely does. That's why I love being around trees. You get around trees, you start to feel better. Excuse me. But, I just went out there and started watering. I was watering the grapefruit down, and I pulled the hose right over the other side, and we got it's only small, the banana tree, but we got it in the ground, because we're one of those people, we grow the stuff in pots, and we might get a little bit of something off of the beauty of the plant, right? Because the beauty of taking care of a plant as well is reaping the benefits, even if it's the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, right, guys? Let's face it, can't really be without them either. So, and we're us humans are taking care of that quite freely by cutting everything down. But yeah. So, and then there was that enjoyment, being present with it. Knowing what you're doing, giving yourself a purpose and a worth, right? And it helps to calm you down, because not only do you turn to your breath and you start on your breath and calm your breath down, but once you start doing something like that and you become present with it, it puts your mind in the positive area. It's not negative at all. You're putting it in an area of growth instead of no growth or stagnancy, right? The brain will stay there, guys. I used to be the guy, the victim guy that would say, I'm never getting out of this. I can't never get out of this. Yeah, the brain won't, because now I'm telling it, no, it's all right. Stay, it takes work, and it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But once you get to that level where you can start being aware, just being aware, like I did tonight. Like, hang on, something's not right here. Something's off. I'm hearing voices getting a little louder. I started there. Okay, what's going on with me? Oh, I felt me anger pop a couple of times, but I kept it down. Put the emphasis on the other person. Something's going on with them, and it's just triggering something within me. So you can remove yourself and put space right there, and then redirect off, and start looking at your life like a plant and like a garden. If you don't tend to the weeds and you don't tend to the shit that's going on around the base of that, the plants end up suffering for that, right? So, you tend to your garden, you take care of your thinking, you take care of like what your body's doing, coming up with the answers, getting the therapy work done, talking to people, doing the pieces parts that sometimes we don't actually want to do. And there's an area of the brain that actually grows. I believe it's called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex is what it's called. And it's an area of the brain that when you do the things that you don't want to do, that part of the brain grows. And that got talked about on the Andrew Huberman and David Goggins interview. I highly recommend that on YouTube. Go and look it up. Great interview with those guys. And they were talking about Goggins and how that part of his brain is probably really grown because he's one of those guys. He does everything, like a lot of the stuff that he does. He'll tell you, I don't even really want to do it. I don't want to get my shoes on and go and run, but a guy runs 70 miles, right? So it's it's doing the things that we don't want to do. And once you start doing those things, it starts to snowball and it gets better for you. So, when you're looking at your life as a garden, do the weeding. Sometimes that means not being around the people that drag you down, the people that ain't the open-minded thinkers, or, sometimes you're gonna have a friend that maybe doesn't all of a sudden doesn't think the same way. I've had this, guys. I'm not bulletproof. I've had things like this with good friends as well, right? So, but it's the understanding. It's the understanding that, hey, sometimes I could call up any one of these guys, by the way, that I'm talking about, and be like, I freaking met them yesterday, right? But it happens. I still love them. I still care about them. But, these things happen. Sometimes you got to know when you got to cut completely, like cut tie, because if you're open-minded thinker and, you're being around a lot of people that are a lot of negative thinkers, your brain will end up going in that direction because it's the way it's all of a sudden becomes like if you're say in a place and there's 10 people in front of you that are all thinking differently, but you're thinking on an open-minded and they're very negative, you automatically want to, believe it or not, be part of, because it's like an acceptance. It's like an acceptance of something. So and then you end up being moaning and that with them, right? And all of a sudden, hey, it's the mind's happy. Keep open-minded. Right, and that's when it comes into that looking into that awareness, guys, and start to realise what these things going on. Keep your garden watered, right? Do all the things you need to be doing, or it's a good choice to do. Looking after your mind by talking to people, getting your therapy done, guys, or go and get a life coach or whatever. Somebody that you can work with, somebody you can sit down and lay it out there, yeah, and work on yourself and take the weeds out, take the trash out. If you get real honest with yourself, you know which is what the trash is and what needs to get put out, and So yeah, guys, I appreciate yous listening. I really do. And I get my those sounds, by the way, come from a site called Pixabay, Pixabay. They're really good, guys. If if you go out there and check them out and give them some support, yeah? Whenever people are putting out their content and it's decent stuff, and it's good for us guys that are out there and can have some sounds that other people are not, stinging you for, it's always really appreciated. It allows us smaller guys to grow too, that little bit more growth. Doesn't hurt to get a little bit of help. Go and check out the YouTube channel, guys. Go and like and subscribe if you would, please. Just put in the search Cockney Buddha and I should come up there on your screen. And don't forget, situations go off around us. But there's things that we can do. And knowing to accept and leave behind the things that we can't do anything about. Thanks, guys, for listening.